Instagrams.
All right. We're
Getting there. Hold on.
just getting up and running, guys.
Just looking at graphic over our faces.
For you guys who are on Instagram and YouTubes,
Yeah.
we're up. So give us a minute to get everything else, and we're letting people join.
Now you can probably see us.
We live on Facebooks too.
Should be.
All right. What about TikTok?
We're still working on that one. Yep, we're live.
God, can't. When we're live on TikTok, it'll be
That's
be lit.
That's when we've made it.
Is lit or is like lit last month, or is that already like?
Is it TikTok or is it OnlyFans the way we need to go now?
Oh, all right.
Oh. I don't know if anyone's gonna want to see
No.
that. I have been looking out though.
It's the pay to unsubscribe option. Yeah.
You know what I have been enjoying is, have you guys seen OnlyPans?
OnlyPants?
OnlyPans.
What about like
It's this super cute girl on TikTok that cooks. It's called OnlyPans.
we could probably do an Only Puns.
You've never seen this? Her name's like Susie Vidal. She's so good.
Only Puns we could do.
Yeah, check it out, OnlyPans. I highly recommend it. Yeah. All right. So we are live, episode number
55.
55. Wow. Yeah, we're getting up there. So I guess every week we have to marvel for a moment about
How many weeks we've done, or how many episodes we've done, yeah.
Like, the goal was to do like 3 or 4 over a year ago. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, just to get us through a month or two.
here we are. This is a pretty exciting episode, 55. We're going to be tackling some very interesting topics today. One is a very exciting announcement of something that I know a lot of you have been waiting a long time for.
Lots of people waiting.
We have as well. And the other is to address some drama that we haven't really weighed in on yet. And this will be kind of our official response. I really don't care to talk about it much more after this.
It's a pretty clear.
It's a total non-issue,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't think so. So I'd like to explain our position and why everything makes a lot more sense than it really does, and for the sake of accuracy, to clear up some misconceptions and essentially false information that's being spread about something that we've supposedly done. So
Actually, a number of things, depending on.
there's a whole bunch of stuff. So and our goal is to segment this out as our response. We'll put it online. The video will speak for itself. And then we can get back to work on doing what we do best, which is bringing new products to market, new high quality products, new innovative products. Sometimes they're more innovative than others. Sometimes the improvements that we add are innovative. But our goal is to provide the best products for the Volkswagen, Audi, and BMW aftermarket. So we really don't want to be on Facebook arguing or engaging in a lot of drama. So this video will do that. And then we'll get back to work. So, all right. So what should we jump into some questions, I guess? We'll do some questions for a minute. This is a question and answer session. So please ask any questions you'd like. Certainly anything related to Volkswagen, Audi, BMW tuning, 034 Motorsport products and services, Nate and I.
Yep.
Where's the SuperDuper Charger?
Is this one of those vague updates?
A vague date.
A vague updates? A vague ETAs? I like those. SuperDuper Charger is coming. It's currently being cast by our foundry.
I think we have everything else. We got the gaskets.
Yeah, we
all
have
set up. We got the harnesses.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything. It's just we're waiting on the
Throttle bodies.
Throttle bodies are
So
also.
I think we're supposed to get parts in like end of this month or mid.
I believe all of our hoses are
In like
ready.
in like
I think
4 to 6 weeks.
I haven't looked at the tracker recently, but I think it's.
I think we're
I
looking
think
at
it's
like
just the aluminum piece.
like a mid to late July official release. So again, please hang in there. We're going to offer very competitive pricing, extremely high quality product, very good performing product. But yeah, I think we're just waiting for the parts to show up since we don't do casting here. We're waiting for our manufacturer.
We've got a lot of people asking, where's the 3.0 T?
You want to talk about that right now?
And there is a lot of people that have jumped in. They're here for the 3-liter stuff.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So, sorry, looking at my phone here, which has questions and notes. So I'm not on TikTok.
I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah. So we are excited to announce that on June 15th, we will release our B9S4 3.0 T tuning.
Yep.
We will be releasing Stage 1 ECU initially. We will release Stage 2 and other variants in the future. Stage 2 shouldn't be too far behind.
Nope.
But Stage 2 isn't production ready currently. Stage 1 is being wrapped up and productionized, making it ready to sell.
Yep.
We will release with 91, 93, and full E85 options. And so I believe if you simply buy Stage 1, you get access to all 3 files.
Yeah, you'll have all 3 available to you to switch between anytime you want.
And a bone stock car can be flashed. All you'll need is a Dynamic Plus tuning cable, which you can purchase from us. Or if you go to one of our dealers, they will be happy to flash your car for you. If you buy a cable, you can flash your car back to stock or switch between the different fuels using the cable.
Yep.
Easily and conveniently. We will also be releasing at the same time a ZF8 TCU tune. That will be essentially, it's going to be necessary.
Yeah, it's really necessary to get the you're going to get the maximum torque out of the Stage 1 and beyond files. So to do things right, we've got to make sure that the torque reporting from the ECU is done correctly, and all of the components in the car that see the correct amount of torque and are using it for traction control, ABS, cruise control, you name it. It's all integrated and used, and obviously transmission side as well for proper shifting and torque holding. And one of those things is they have a fairly conservative torque limit that the TCU will allow you to do. That's not a mechanical limit. It's just an arbitrary software limit that's been set inside the TCU. And if you're not modifying that within the TCU, among other changes we do for these tunes, you're going to be limited to the amount of torque that the ECU is allowed to produce.
And that's
overall.
One of many reasons why tuning boxes can't produce as much power.
Well, there's that, and the tuning boxes are even worse. They falsely report torque across the board. That's the whole game is right. You intercept either map, or a combination of things.
But even if they did everything well, they'd be limited by not having a TCU.
Yeah, if somehow they were able to get the proper torque output from the ECU, you'd still be capped with the TCU side. And then, conversely, if you're buying an ECU tune that doesn't require a TCU tune, chances are they've either fudged it, gone about ignoring some TCU side demands, or kind of hack their way around it some way or another. But generally, the common way is just to bring all of your torque outputs down, so that you stay under that threshold.
And we could have done that, but it's a much less powerful tune.
It's more like bringing the reported torque levels down. You can output a certain amount of torque from the engine, but then you tell all of the other components hey, I'm only making this much torque,
and that causes all kinds of
causes shifting issues, causes cruise control, traction control, ASR intervention stuff. They're never going to feel as good as if you're properly calibrating and outputting those correct numbers.
And so our TCU tune also improves shift speeds, booster shifts,
shift points. We're working
more optimized.
We're working on optimizing the shift points, because the power band on these stock turbos is not a huge turbo, so the power band's kind of in the mid range, and you've got to really optimize where those shift points are.
You could actually go faster by shifting
a little sooner in some gears, depending on how things load up.
Depends on the gear too.
Yep. So
and then launch control refinement.
Launch control will be refined a bit. So.
And not to say that launch control is finalized or that it won't ever have our advanced launch control features. Right. That's in the future. But initially, anyone who buys our Stage 1 will have access to those updates in the future.
Yep.
But this I've driven this tune. It's much faster than the stock car. It's smooth, refined, reliable, like the factory tune.
It picks up a bunch of power.
No hardware changes are required, other than buying a cable or having access to a cable.
Yep.
And then certainly a bigger intercooler.
Yeah, we do. The intercooler is kind of
Stage 2.
We found you really want to look at.
We do recommend strongly the intercooler, especially if you want to accelerate through more than 1 or 2 gears at a time. So let's say you want to, you're on track. You will feel heat soak after a couple laps. And there are good intercooler options on the market currently from Wagner.
Yeah.
And we're looking at bringing some to market as well. But it's not necessary, but there's a marked improvement by adding an intercooler. Stage 2 will be with a high flow cat, and that's a future update. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what else would even be beneficial right now.
To add, I mean, intake, intercooler.
Yeah, an intake. There'll be some additional power. Again, not required, but an intake
Yep.
will provide additional power flow.
We've got our turbo inlet we're working on.
Yeah,
so there's a number of just kind of efficiencies and restrictions that come along with most of the products we're working on.
Is the factory intercooler good enough for stage 1?
Well, like I said,
it depends on use. I mean, and again, environment. If you're in a really hot zone, I mean, stage 1 will work. All of our safeties are there. We've worked on pushing it past where it's thermally, happy, by repeatedly loading that intercooler.
But it will pull power back.
Yeah, you'll get into, basically a engine protection or
with an intercooler, it won't. As nearly.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work a lot harder to get it there. So,
but no, you don't need the intercooler. The ECU will pull back power once things get to a certain temperature.
Yep.
But who wants that, right? So, I think it's recommended, and you can start with stage 1, enjoy it. Once you start feeling that, you can add the intercooler. You'll have
don't feel like you have to wait for the software because you don't have an intercooler yet. It'll work fine. It's just you're gonna have less fun if you're in really hot conditions. It'll start reducing that output a little bit.
But there's a lot more to come. We're nowhere near done development. We're at the very beginning.
Yep.
So I'd say it's a good time to jump in and then get those updates and improvements as they come in the future.
Yeah, and we've already gone and done the legwork and gotten our kind of our more advanced software stuff working and compiling and building against these, so we can add all these custom features we've talked about for advanced launch control, our high-speed data logging, all that. We developed that in-house, and it's all in there.
We'll be adding all
and
that.
working.
And are there any follow-up questions or any?
Someone would like to know if we're removing auto upshift in manual mode with the TCU.
We've talked about that a little bit. We can look at that. It isn't normally on our normal files. It's not something we typically will do. We'll look at that. It's a good thing to note down.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any numbers we could use?
I don't have numbers that
numbers and price. Because we will release on June 15th.
We're still finalizing everything.
But they're good. They're good numbers.
Yeah.
It's it will be competitive with anything else out there, and the price will also be very competitive. But we will put our performance and quality of tune up against anything else on the market. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we haven't rushed this out. We're trying to get everything ironed out and make this as rock solid a file as we can.
Yeah, and we will be pursuing carb EOs for this.
Yep, the intake, the same path, the B8 and the MQB.
And since we already have 2 applications approved, the process gets easier for us. So we don't have any doubt that stage 1 will be approved, but we have not begun the process yet because the tune's not even finalized. Right. It will be in the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
So.
Will hybrid turbos be something we consider tuning?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
We already have hybrid turbos on the way. I believe we have a segment. I'd recommend check out our B9 tuning segment from a few weeks ago. We dive deep into the tuning. I'd recommend anyone who's interested in our B9 tuning to go back and watch that. It's about 30 minutes, but Nate and I really dive deep into factory ECU calibration, into B9, our future plans.
Talked about the complexity of these ECUs and just the number of maps and variables, just from a starting point, a real high level overview of.
And we talk a lot about the quality of the tune, not just features, and a lot of times customers they look at features lists and they make decisions based on the features, but what you're buying is not features. You're buying the quality and accuracy of the base tuning and programming, and that that's not really a feature.
Nick just linked it live.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
so on Facebook.
Watch that after this, or save it for later. And I think that's very informative. I've never seen any tuning company talk that openly about.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Q&A stuff. Near this where we're kind of laying it out there on how we go about things. What some of the inner workings of these ECUs and TCUs and the challenges we have to kind of work with or work around are.
No one's asking about crackles? Is this a whole new world?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's some pops and crackles, right?
Yep. We'll be there. Those are adjusted a bit from stock as well
Yeah.
for stage 1, and then stage 2 will obviously you'll get a little more of that. We've touched on it a little bit. We'll see on that.
Well, we'd be happy to take suggestions and requests, especially during this.
We'll throw out that session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a form.
Yep.
Yeah, fill out the form. Vote with the form. Anything else?
Pretty good.
I think that was most
Of course, we can continue to talk about it through the rest of the session.
Yeah. If anything comes up, hit us up. Hey, crackles. There you go.
Yeah. I need a dual pulley crackle tune. Don't we have that?
Yeah. All of our stage 2 files.
You're good, bro.
With the test pipe, will enable that, and it'll be in. The catch might be if you've got a car without a sport diff and a manual, and you don't have a switch to put it in dynamic mode. You can hit us up. That's kind of a rare setup, so we don't have a lot of guys that need that. But we can put up it's called a force sport mode. You'll end up having your crackle overrun stuff on all the time. Normally, it's only on when you're in dynamic mode.
Right. Okay. Someone's saying I'm currently running EPL Stage 1 on my B9S4 with a downpipe. Will your ECU tune for the B9S4 turn off my check engine light for the downpipe?
Stage 1 will not.
Yeah, you'll need our Stage 2 file once that's available,
Yep.
which is a racing use only. Sorry, I didn't mean to do quotes. It is for racing use.
Yes, parentheses.
It is actually for that. It's a free country, so. But we would not do that with Stage 1 simply because Stage 1 the goal is to make it carb legal and street legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So that means all emissions functionality has to be in place. So technically, you should not be running a downpipe on a Stage 1 tune. That is a Stage 2 configuration, and you're kind of mixing Stage 2 parts with Stage 1 tuning. So that's why you have the check engine light.
Right.
But you would want to pursue a Stage 2 file, which for B9 3.0T will mean a high flow cat or catless where various emissions features are turned off again because it's for racing use.
Purpose, yeah.
How reliable strong is the ZF8 in the B9S4? Thinking about getting the S4, but very hesitant of the trans. Coming from
We
the
talk about this a lot. I'm not sure where the hesitation's coming from.
I've heard of one ZF8 blowing up, and it was a RS6 with way too much torque, like double what a 3.0T could produce.
I mean, these transmissions are pretty damn strong.
Yeah. Certainly at Stage 1 power levels, we've seen no issues.
Yeah.
And the whole reason Audi has been moving to the ZF8 is because it's stronger. One of the big reasons. I'm sure there's others, but if you look at, for example, the last generation when Audi put the higher horsepower torque 4.0T in the RS7, they moved away from the DSG into the ZF8, and you have the same basic ZF8 hardware components are in Hellcats and all kinds of crazy high
that
horsepower
platform's
cars.
used in a lot of big power cars.
And it's
big torque.
This ZF8's not really any different than those, other than the programming and maybe some of the ancillary parts on the outside. So I would say there should be zero concern for strength or reliability. And once programmed, I mean, even the B9S4 stock in sport mode shifts really nice.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. And we're going to improve on that even more. So I'd wholeheartedly recommend it. Will B9 S4 Stage 1 ECU tuning be detectable by dealers? Well, yes, if it's on the car. If you flash back to stock, then it won't be.
To our knowledge, that is not. Yeah. We obviously can't guarantee anything. That's no one can.
Anyone needs to accept the possibility that they'll have problems at the dealer.
Yeah, and the OEMs have various other ways, regardless of what you do back to the ECU, that they could potentially implement. We haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
So we can't answer that concretely. And if anybody can, I would question it heavily.
Even tuning boxes can be detected after they're taken off.
Yep.
You know, and the factory does actually have a tuning box program.
Yep.
Due to so many cars having them. So whenever you tune or modify any part of your car, you pretty much need to accept that you're voiding your warranty.
And it's not,
You know,
yeah, it's
that
not
doesn't
that, it's
mean-
not going to say that every dealer's just going to,
Yeah.
pitch any warranty request out the window. It's just, it's one of those things you have to be cognizant of and, aware that it's always a possibility with any product in the world you buy.
Yeah.
Any product out there, if you're going to modify it or change it from what the manufacturer has, delivered it as, warranties are going to be tough.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like if you're going to take an Ambien before you get on an airplane, you need to be prepared to be the guy running around the plane naked, And if you're not, then you shouldn't take an Ambien. That's happened to you, right? Huh? Nobody? Okay. But yeah, you just never know. So that's definitely never happened to me. Will there be exhaust flaps be adjustable on the B9 3.0 T tuning?
Mm-hmm. It is adjustable.
I mean, we can adjust.
We can adjust it. Yes.
There won't be a knob on your
It is
dashboard.
remappable. It will be altered a bit between dynamic and
Yeah.
drive modes and
Yeah.
comfort mode.
Yeah.
Will the factory
Boost gauge works still. Yep, and it'll be increased for the ranges given.
And like the red line and everything on the digital dash is updated.
Yeah. All of those come along because we're moving all the proper fields around to account for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the boost gauge it's kind of a novelty in these cars where it's kind of a slider for how much boost
Yeah.
you got, and there is a window where the factory defines what maximum boost equals on that line chart.
But it will scale up.
Yeah, we'll adjust it accordingly.
Yeah, unlike in the 80s, the boost gauges on the dash that would just like max out, and then you
Just
get
all
like
the
another
time,
10
yeah.
PSI
Starts wrapping around.
E85 and hybrid tunes for Mark 7 Golf R S3. Yes,
Mhm.
we are actually we have a Mark 7 Golf R procured for some of this development.
Yep.
That's on its way here. No release dates or anything like that, but it is on our schedule to do this year. And that will also include an IS38 tune for the GTI.
Yes. Yep. And some hybrid action too.
All right. Should we jump into the other discussion?
Let's do it.
All right. So, try to get through this pretty quickly, but I wouldn't normally even legitimize something like this, but it's kind of gotten out there, and I feel like at this point, if we don't say something, then maybe some people could assume that what's being said is true or correct, and I really hate even wading into this type of drama. I'm 46. I'm an adult, and I started this business 20 years ago so that we could produce great quality, high performance parts. And, elementary school drama wasn't necessarily part of the plan, but that's the situation we're in. So let's get into it. Yep. So if you haven't heard, again, I hate to even the possibility of anyone even finding out about this, but we're going to talk about it. So we released 2 new products. These parts right here, these are billet rear main seals for 180 FSI and newer TFSI and TSI cars. They fit a ton of different vehicles. I mean, this one fits all 180s, older i5s. Pretty much every Volkswagen going back to the 70s can pretty much use this. But check out our application list on our website. The purpose of this product is a flange that holds the older style Viton seal that's spring loaded. Newer seals have I don't know if you've ever seen one, but it's a molded Teflon lip, and it's not rubber, it's Teflon, and the molded shape has a little bit of spring to it. So when you press this on over the crankshaft, it forms a seal, and the Teflon is self-lubricating. The issue is it's not spring loaded, and so over time that Teflon seal can relax, and inevitably these all leak. Sooner than the older style seal. So I think it was 5 years ago, Iabed Industries came out with a product, which was probably the first in our industry, I believe it was, with a billet housing that held this older style rear main seal with the spring loading. Again, this was a long time ago. And so we've been getting asked about doing this part for years, and we never did. And finally had some conversations with many of our dealers who basically expressed a desire for us to do it because they weren't happy with the current solution. And so we said, okay, we're here to serve our customers and our dealers, and we're an engineering company. And so we produced competing parts to what INA had on the market. So INA had a design patent on this version. We did some research. We have a patent attorney, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But we went ahead and produced our part based off the OEM part. So you can see the similarity. Okay. And it'll probably shock no one that the INA part is the same shape as the OEM one. Okay. So INA did a ornamental or design patent on the factory part, which, Nate, can you put that up?
Yeah.
And anyways, we produced the part and we released it on Thursday. Actually, don't put it up quite yet.
Okay.
I'll get into it in a minute. To be honest, it's our most popular product release ever, I think. We sold out almost immediately. By Friday afternoon, now we've kept some in stock. So if you go on our website and you'd like to order this, if you order one, it will ship. Some of our dealers ordered like 60 or 100 units, and we've just shipped smaller quantities to them so we can keep product on the shelf for individual customers as well, because we want to make sure everyone can have access to this. We have a lot more of them coming and being made. So in a month or so, there will be plenty of these, and there'll be just the demand was so much bigger than we anticipated. And I think the reason our launch has been so successful is because some other people have been advertising this for us.
Yeah.
So
No,
out of
this
the
is bad
blue,
news,
for some reason, Hank Irose from Irose Motorsport created a post on his personal Facebook page accusing us of copying INA engineering and being greedy and dishonest and violating his patent. He claims that post has been shared thousands of times, and over 250,000 people or something have seen it. He promoted this post so enthusiastically that something happened, and Facebook actually put him on a timeout. I don't know exactly what happened, but so Hank was no longer able to post about this at some point on Friday, and has been using a proxy named Adam Blender to post messages from Facebook jail to the public. So, I mean, the whole thing's kind of ridiculous, but here we are. So I'd like to just kind of go point by point and address some of the things that are being said. Some people are accusing us of copying. Some people are which is false. Some people are accusing us of violating patents, which is false. And some people are accusing us of being greedy, which is also completely false. But let me explain. So, all right, first off, this is a very simple part. This is a rear main seal. Okay. It forms a light seal around the end of the crankshaft so that oil from inside the crankcase cannot leak into the transmission housing. If you go on Amazon right now and you put in like any GTI, there's over 20 different options on Amazon. This is the place where you can buy like hand lotion and new patio furniture. They offer over this Amazon offers 20 different options for rear main seals. Depending on application, at least 10. And so this is not an innovative, crazy part. And what INA did is they took a factory rear main seal and housed it in a billet housing. We could have easily cast this if we wanted to. These are low volume parts, and so there's really no reason for us to cast them. And we can do billet just as nice, and frankly, it's really cool and sexy. I don't think INA or Iabed invented billet parts. So I just want to establish that it's a very simple part. This is not innovation, although it's a novel idea and it's great. Clearly, a lot of people need this part, and I'm not discounting the value of it. We made it for a reason, but it's not like we stole, some magical engineering effort that was 10 years. This part literally takes an hour or two to reverse engineer from the factory part. It's
Yeah.
incredibly simple part. So again, we did not copy the iAbed parts. We created our version off the OEM part. So did iAbed. So we both did the same thing. We did it 5 years later. He arguably had a 5-year head start. And my understanding is he's done very well with it, which is probably why he's so upset, because now he has some competition. So there's been the accusation that the iAbed part is patented. So if you want to throw up. So the top part is the iAbed part.
Yeah, I may move this around a little bit, guys,
Yeah.
just so I can get the cropping right with Instagram. It's kind of...
And the bottom part is our part. Now here, pause that.
The bottom part
You didn't tell me you want to pause it.
Oh, sorry.
Hold
Oh,
on.
they're just like, it's like a slideshow.
Slideshow.
Okay. Yeah, let's try to do one picture at a time.
Yeah, one second. You guys can do it.
So iAbed does have a design patent, or an an ornamental patent. It's U.S. patent D761325S. You can look it up if you want. It's on the screen, but you probably can't see this. But ornamental patents are a patent on lines that define the shape of the part. So it's not even the part itself. So you take different views of the part and you draw lines very specifically that visually dictate what the part looks like. The ornamental or design patents limits anyone else from creating an exact copy or replica of that part. Ornamental patents, design patents are really cheap. You could probably go on LegalZoom and do one for $1,000.
Which image do you want up?
Let's see. Just go to the first one where we're comparing the two parts.
Okay.
No, like our part to the iAbed part. There you go.
Great.
So ornamental patents don't really hold water. You just have to change one little thing, just one little visual thing, and the patent no longer applies. I mean, it literally prevents someone from doing an exact copy.
Yeah, I think the intent is, as we've been explained, is like if you can hold up two of the parts. Nobody can see me right now because I'm behind a picture. You can hold up two of the parts side by side, and you have a difficult time distinguishing between the two parts. That's what that patent is to cover. So you can't sell one as another.
Yeah. So you can clearly see that the top part is iAbed, the bottom part is ours. There is, other than the shape dictated by the factory, there's really no other similarity. And there's a hole that's the same exact size in the middle, which fits a very specific rear main seal product. So we did not copy iAbed. We based our design off the factory OEM part. We did enter the same exact product application that iAbed has been operating with for years, and there's nothing illegal or wrong with that. Eibach and H&R both make springs. BBS and HRE both make wheels. We also make springs. We also make wheels. Hank Iros hasn't gone and posted about that. So this happens to be a rear main seal. There are dozens and dozens of options available on the market. We did not copy. Why don't you move to the next one? Sure. So there's another issue. And so this is our part on the bottom, and that's the design patent. So that's what iAbed has patented, those lines. And you can see none of the lines on our flange match exactly with that flange.
And we know it's esoteric and silly to talk about lines and whatnot, but this is literally this is what a design patent.
The patent is not a utility patent. So this iAbed is not protected, and frankly, I don't think anyone could get a utility patent on this. There would be no substance in getting a patent. But that's what the patent is. It's those lines. And unless ours lines match exactly that, it's not a violation. So here's the problem for iAbed, and I haven't heard Hank talk about this. He skipped this part.
Yeah.
So iAbed patented the top thing, but they made the bottom thing. So their part is not the same as their patent. So actually, if we wanted to, we could copy that. And frankly, everyone else out there, if you'd like, you can copy the iAbed part exactly, and it will not violate his patent. You notice that hole in the bottom on the design patent? It's not connected. And so there's a bridge that goes from that hole to the seal. Arguably, iAbed put it there to reinforce or strengthen because the flange is so thin. The only strength in this flange is in those ribs that go out to the holes. Unlike ours, which is heavily ribbed, Our part is much more rigid, and we made this improvement, you could call it an innovation, on purpose, because we did see how flexible and the iBed part lacks a lot of integrity. But he added that, so his part doesn't even match his patents. So when I originally consulted with our patent attorney, I said, is there any issue? And I showed him our part, and we compared it to his design patents. The attorney came back and said, this isn't even a valid patent. His part doesn't even match it. You could actually copy his part if you want, which we would never do. We do not copy other people's parts. There would be no reason. We spent a couple days in engineering, drawing this up, machining prototypes, test fitting it, validating it, and we had it manufactured. This is not a complicated part to do. So that's another big problem with this whole situation.
Did you see the question at the top?
No.
Scroll down.
Yes, Hank, you can copy any of our work if you want to. Any of our products. You want to do inserts? Knock yourself out. It's a free market. We will compete with you. I've got no issue with it. I'm not the one who wants to limit competition. You do. So, speaking of competition, this is the United States of America. It's a free market. Any company, any manufacturer has the right and frankly the obligation to bring products to market. That's how our economy works. Competition breeds innovation. Tesla doesn't tell Audi to not to make electric cars. Tesla actually sharing their IP and helping other companies do it. This market is free, and it sounds like Hank is asking for some kind of contrived monopoly protection for businesses, and I don't believe in that. I believe in the free market. I believe in opportunity for everyone. Lots of our products have been copied and knocked off, like blatantly, like literally exact replicas of our products. But almost everything that we bring to market and release, some other company comes out with. Do I like it? No, I don't have to like it. I could be pissed off about it. Do I go blast on Facebook about it? Heck no. I think that's really unprofessional. So this is a free market. We believe in competition. We welcome it. If IRO's, and it's not even clear why. Why is IRO's defending INA?
Yeah, to be clear, we didn't copy it. It's literally
not even
a
copy.
2D part.
But Hank said we did.
With
Hank's post says we copied it. It's a very, very specific wording. So yes, we believe in competition. We believe in the free market. It sounds like you want to limit it. You want to limit customer choices. We're not interested in that. So if someone else can come out with a product and improve it, great. For example, we were the first to bring, billet high performance motor mounts for the DAZA market, and Hank bought a bunch of them and sold them. But BFI came out with some. I didn't see Hank going out and saying, you copied 034, and did we like it that BFI released mounts? No. Do we still sell a ton of ours? Yes. Am I actually glad that customers have more choices? Sure. I'm an American. I believe in freedom and competition. I have a business degree. I studied economics. I know how it's supposed to work. And free market competition is what makes this country so great. And that's not politics. I'm not like a super conservative Trumper or anything, but even I think liberals and Democrats believe in free market competition. It's not politics. It's just how this country works.
And I mean, on that note, who gets to decide which product the market?
Well, apparently Hank
who's the overseer of what product is the one that lives?
Hank gets to tell the whole market and the customers, you can't buy that. You shouldn't buy that. You can't have competition. I mean, that's bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would never say that to customers. I have in the past emailed some of our dealers and said, hey, I see you're carrying the competitor product, which is essentially a knockoff of ours. Would you consider supporting ours? But I would never say you can't sell that or you shouldn't or anything like that. And again, I don't have to like it, but what I need to do is compete and move forward and bring more new products to market. That's what we do. So we've been accused of being greedy.
Yeah, you want to transition to something
go to
else?
the next one.
What do we got?
So that's the patents. Yeah. Again, we're not shying away from the patents. There's literally nothing iBed can do. They have no legal case.
It's not like we had to go digging for this. He stamps the number all over his parts, which don't match the patent.
Right. So yeah, you can take the photos down.
Yeah.
So we've been accused of being greedy. apparently by investing our engineering resources in a new product and bringing it to market that has actually improvements over the existing part, we're greedy. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not greedy. It kind of sounds like Hank is a little greedy because he doesn't want competition. He wants all the opportunity for himself, but I think that's greedy. I think what isn't greedy is being a tuning company. I started this company, 20 years ago almost. And I started it to bring products to market, great quality, high performance products. That's what we do. I mean, you wouldn't ask a duck to stop quacking because another duck quacked. This is what we do. We're a tuning company. We see what's on the market. And in some cases, we're the first ones to do it. In other cases, we're entering just like everyone else. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can always expect the
this isn't
first
about
person
greed.
to make any product to fit a niche is going to be the only person allowed to sell that product. I mean,
No.
I'm pretty
I mean, that's
sure there's
insane.
more than one intercooler option on the market for any given car.
Apparently not.
More than one, downpipe, more than one spring kit, more than one, the list doesn't end. It shouldn't.
The market feeds and breeds off of competitive products and improvements. If the first and only thing that was released ended up being the only thing, then the innovation Hank talks so much about would be quenched. And that's what he's saying when he says, "Don't release new products. Don't compete." That's quelling innovation, and that hurts the customers. That hurts the industry. We're all here because there's competition and because we've been pushed to be better by our competitors. This will be really interesting to watch to see if Iabed makes any changes to his product. I suspect he will, because we've added features and functionality to our part that he doesn't have, and he will either have to step it up and create a better product, or he'll lose business. But that's literally how he won't be able to sue us or stop us from doing this. His options will be to have an outdated product or to update. And if he does, it will be because of our effort. And we've been pushed many times to be better as well.
This is like Senna not going for the gap. I don't know about that, but I like the analogy.
I don't know. Can you imagine there was no competition? I mean, racing. Yeah.
All right.
So it's not about greed. I'm an entrepreneur. I started this business. We now have 50 employees. We have a responsibility to utilize our resources to enrich not only the market and our customers, but the employees here who work so hard. And Iabed, if you want to keep up and compete, then I'd suggest not sitting on Facebook all day or calling every business in the industry telling them not to support this part. Get started on the next product. You want to knock some of our stuff? Go ahead.
You wouldn't be the first.
Try us.
You can search, literally search 034 Motorsport on eBay or whatever, and
it's all there. You're going to be
like
competing with like Alibaba, when you knock off our stuff. So, but you know what? Go for it. Knock yourself out. And again, I think it's greedy not to want competition, to create some contrived scenario where only you benefit. That I don't agree with. Okay, so we added features I mentioned. So all of our oil seals, remain seals, come with an installation tool. I believe the Iabed does not. There's been reports of people damaging the seals when they install the Iabed. I think that's why.
Well, that's why there's a tool to install.
We address the issue by providing the tool with it. On this part, the later style, we keep the factory has a RTV retention groove here. So when you put the RTV to seal it, there's no gasket for this. It gives some grab to the seal in this groove. The Iabed part does not have that. The problem is if you don't have this, all the RTV can essentially squeeze out. We also added back the alignment pins, which the factory part has. The Iabed part does not have that. These pins are really important. They perfectly align the seal on the crankshaft. Without this, the seal can go off center, and this could also be why some customers have reported issues and failures with the Iabed
you can
part.
preload the seal one way or the other, and you're kind
It
of
has to be perfectly
forcing
centered.
it, off center.
Yeah, and we've come out with a slightly lower price, which benefits the market, benefits customers. I don't know why the Iabed part is more. We could have honestly sold it for a lot cheaper. We didn't want to undercut the competition by that much, but we have priced below it because we have plenty of margin on this part. So in addition to that, we will be releasing a 270 version, which IABED does not have, and we have about 5 or 6 more applications in the queue that we're working on. So this is what when people talk about innovation, taking what's on the market, improving it, making it better, and expanding the line, that's innovation. That's what we do at 034 Motorsport. I don't know why IABED hasn't done a 270. I don't know why IABED hasn't looked at the other applications that we're working on. But he's had these 2 parts, and that's all he brought to market. So I think a big, Hank's post is kind of about, this is what's wrong with the industry. Well, I don't agree. I mean, I think what has made the industry great is companies competing with each other, constantly improving on parts, bringing more options to the market. I think, what is a problem with the industry is this entire post that he's made. It's unprofessional. It's disingenuous. It's clickbait. Accusing us of copying when we didn't copy, accusing us of violating a patent when we didn't violate it. I mean, frankly, it's libel. It's not even true what he's saying. I think that's a bigger problem. I think for this industry to be the best it can be, companies should work professionally together. They should encourage each other to be the best they can be, and they should look at themselves and focus on making themselves better instead of raging on Facebook all day or on social media about some non-issue. 034 Motorsport is an innovator. We've innovated many products over the years. I started the company being basically the first standalone engine management system that could run 5 cylinders. Before that, it was Electromotive and SDS. Granted, you could do Motec. It was like $10,000. And so I came to market with a $1,700 fully standalone ECU that did ignition, fuel, and all ancillary functions of running an engine. We brought density motor mounts to market. Before that, there was just poly billet mounts on the market. We brought billet inserts to market, which is probably one of the most widely copied products in this industry ever. We did a lot of innovation and applications around billet catch cans. Before we did it, nobody was doing billet catch cans. All of a sudden now, everyone has billet catch cans. We brought carbon fiber intakes to the market. Before that, there was
it's mostly stamped
Carbonio and some of that stuff.
Yeah, Carbonio I guess had some, but it was weird enclosed.
There was like mostly just tube on a filters on a stick on a tube type intakes. So we brought a carbon fiber intake for the TTRS, which nobody had, and all of a sudden magically other companies started doing it too. You probably know who they are. Innovations in tuning and calibration. Look what we've done in the B8 market. Our advanced launch control features. We've set multiple world records in the B8.
We didn't copy anyone's on that. That was 100% designed, developed, put together the tool chain to do all that from start to finish.
Well, that was great. In one of these threads, one of our competitors accused us of copying their tuning, which is ridiculous. No, we developed that ourselves.
Yeah, it was all developed in-house. We haven't looked at, copied, done anything to the sort of anybody's product. It's like I've got the source code from start to finish. This is all compiled, from C source code. We're not going in and manually hacking at binaries.
Right.
We spent the time and did it right, so it's a maintainable, upgradable thing, and that's why we can add so many advanced features to these cars. Is we wrote actual software for it. We're not going in and hand flipping bits to make a function there do one thing or another. We're actually able to write very advanced, functions, math, inputs, outputs. We can do a lot of stuff.
I personally would not be okay with any of our tuning being copied from someone else. We've worked very hard to always do our own tuning and calibration. Even when someone else's source code maybe fell in our lap or was accessible to us, we've specifically done it ourselves.
Well, to be fair, to clarify that, I have never seen anybody else that even has source code around this.
This particular feature. I'm talking going back 10 years.
Even into the past, it's never happened.
No.
We've never.
And I wouldn't be okay with it.
We've never been offered anything. We've never.
I think it's wrong.
To even the point we don't, we don't go through any effort to try and do it like anybody else is doing it. We either determine the right way to do it, our way, or we don't do it.
Yeah.
There's no like half-ass stick a feature in.
We've been innovating for 15 years. I brought the first hybrid turbos to the i5 market. And in fact, Hank used to buy them from me. But I was one of the first people in the world to put a T3, T4 turbo on an i5. Before that, everyone said only the RS2 turbo will work. You can't use a T3,
K27 if you want to.
Yeah, so I started buying up used K26 cores, and we started machining them out and putting T3, T4 hybrids in there. And I developed line kits and silicone inlet hoses all around making that fit. I mean, we've sold thousands of those, but I've been innovating, and we have been innovating in this industry for a very long time. In fact, before iRose Motorsport or iAbed was even a business.
Somebody brought up a good point. Do anything to hear the opinion of the engineers who designed the OEM part right now. Like, no kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean,
this is all derivative work.
It is. This is all copied from OEM, So calling this innovation, that's a stretch, Hank. I'm sorry. This is a cool part, but this is not innovation. This is literally copying the factory stuff.
Some guy just asked, why are you explaining yourself? It makes you look more guilty of stealing. What have you stolen? Yeah, you need to
watch the video,
dude.
Look back and we're not guilty. We're explaining in detail why we're not guilty.
Has come from.
So I want to add one additional thing. I thought about whether to say this or not, but I think it's an important context. We hired an iRose Motorsport employee last fall. We hired them, arguably away from iRose Motorsport. We had a job posting. This individual applied for it. They went through the interview process. We made them an offer. It was a step up for them. It was a promotion. It was furtherment of their career. And it's a free country. Employers cannot stop people from taking other jobs. And, so then you have to ask, well, why would iRose Motorsport post about iAbed? Well, it doesn't even make any sense. Well, there is an aspect of wanting revenge and a vendetta. I hate even bringing this up, but it's true. And there has been this desire to get back at us. And apparently maybe this is the opportunity. So, and then the last thing I'll say is iRose is constantly accusing us of copying their DSG catch can. Again, we've been producing catch cans for over 10 years. The DSG catch can is a vessel that catches oil coming out of the DSG transmission. Our catch cans catch oil coming out of the engine. This was the first application of a DSG needing it. iRose was first to market. We immediately started working on it as well when we saw the oil coming out of the factory breather. Ours is not a copy. It lightly resembles the overall shape is lightly resemblant, just simply due to the space.
Yeah.
And ours sits in approximately the same place as the factory one. So does the iRose. It's not a copy. It's just another option. And Hank's always raging about ours, but APR has one, CTS has one, USP has one. There's probably 5 more on the market. So why are we always the focus? Well, none of this started until this hiring event. Which, listen, it sucks. I've had Elon Musk, coach a bunch of my employees over the years, and it sucks. I get it. I didn't have to be happy about it, but I got back to work and I moved forward. So, anyways, that's probably all that needs to be said.
I think that covers things.
Anyway, so yeah, probably not going to talk about this a whole lot more, and I think we addressed all the points. So we're going to be moving forward now. We'll put this video out there and it can speak for itself. And, we're going to get back to work as far as that goes. So speaking of which, we can jump into some more questions if there are some.
4.0 T mounts popped up a couple times.
They are in testing. So we are back into the testing phase. We addressed the problem that came up earlier during our first round of testing. We're now in the second round of testing, feeling pretty optimistic. About this, so once we do the amount of testing we feel is necessary, we will move forward. We will move forward with the production version.
Yep.
Can you? How much time I got?
Right. About 5 minutes.
This is a good question. Well, please recommend some books, courses on car tuning and combustion engine basics. The only one I can think of off the top of my head, if I just had like 5 minutes to do some research, I could give you a good list. Maybe I'll do that for next week. But for sure, read Maximum Boost by Corky Bell if you haven't.
Yeah, for just a turbo flow and design kind of.
If you understand everything in that book, then you will be very well versed in turbocharging basics and technology. I think maybe some people think, oh, that's just like a beginner's guide. But no, if you can read that from cover to cover, you will be very well educated on turbocharging and a lot of aspects about internal combustion engines in general.
Yeah, just gas flow and how you want to think about this system together.
So if you haven't read that book, I'd recommend. I think you can pick it up on Amazon. And I had my head in that book for like 5 years in the 90s,
and it's
reading it.
Yeah, it's tough these days to give you one answer. There's so many different kind of more advanced combustion strategies and air handling that all the OEMs are doing now for emissions and efficiency use. Really kind of start at the beginning, just get a really solid understanding of the basic internal combustion engine. I wouldn't go for the most crazy, modern strategy book out there and try and absorb it. You want to know, like, how does an engine work? Why are there 4 cycles in this? What do each of those cycles do? What is spark advance? Why is it there? What is it for? How does the burn propagate through this? What affects how things, combust, and why are the valves where they are? Why are the heads shaped the way they are? The pistons shaped the way they are? All that fundamental base knowledge is going to help you understand, the more modern stuff coming up.
We'll make some suggestions next week, but if you haven't read Maximum Boost, start there. That's a good one. And it's accessible to anyone. Like, literally, and if you don't know anything about cars, you could start reading that, and it would get you up. You'd know a lot more by the end.
Yep.
I was told by your dealer, I don't know what application this is, the throttle sensitivity is due to 0-100% true operation.
So I think what this is getting at is, I'm going to guess it's B8 because it's one of the most apparent ones. Is we do remap the pedal input to actually give you full control of your throttle over the full range of the pedal. So you have a throttle pedal, that you're operating with your foot. Moving your foot will always change, the output of the engine, which
but that wouldn't make it more sensitive.
It's less sensitive. They're just saying it's not like the OEM. So what the OEM does, and what a lot of these
so the lack of throttle sensitivity.
Right. The lack of sensitivity. So what you're portraying as sensitive is literally taking that 0 to 100% movement of your pedal into a load change of the engine, cutting it, sometimes in half, sometimes, even more than that, where literally the last half of that pedal of your accelerator does nothing. There's zero change to the output of the engine. Yeah. All it does is makes that little tip in just feel more like you're getting more response out of it. All you have to do is push your foot, for the amount of, torque you want, basically. With our calibrations, you're going to get it. You back off, you get less. All the way through to the full travel of the pedals, so that you get all of that resolution.
Yeah, and that resolution is what you use to control the car.
Yeah,
it's really important. So these like sprint boosters and crap like that, it takes away your control of the car. It gives you less choices when you want to apply torque. It gives you like 2 or 3 power points instead of like 20 or 30 like you should have.
Yeah, and we take these cars on track all the time. We are road course guys typically, and you're full throttle out of a corner. You start to overpower tires, traction, whatever. You need to back out a little bit. You would think you back out a little bit, you're going to get less output. Yeah. On an OEM tune, you've got to come out almost half, find out where that point is that the throttle is going to start backing out, and then go from there.
And the proof in this is if you look at any race car, especially if you go back to like the Audi race cars in the 80s, like when you see Hans Stuck and you look at his footwork, he's using the pedal and he's going at minute different points on the throttle pedal to get different amounts of horsepower and torque out of the engine. And you look at those engines and they don't run the biggest throttle body. They don't run 100 mil throttle bodies.
Right.
They run,
as
big as is needed to produce peak power. But by keeping that smaller throttle body, it gives them a lot more resolution. In many cases, they even add wedges to the throttle plate so that it gets like a kind of a 2-stage function. So it lets less air in at the lower throttles, and then it opens up, for wide open. So just keep in mind, don't forget that resolution, or the reduction in sensitivity, as you call it, is what you use to control the car. It's really important. If you just want to get to wide open throttle faster, then move your foot faster. That's all you need to do. But you don't need an artificially short or reduced resolution in your throttle pedal to get to wide open throttle. You just slam your foot down and you're there.
Why do the OEMs do it? It is one of the gimmicks that
helps
people think their car is doing something faster.
Like the sprint booster, complete gimmick.
Yeah, it's yes, it's there. Yes, it's an OEM style. but it removes your ability to properly control the engine at the limit.
You know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like how McDonald's has big straws versus other, so you just end up getting more faster.
Try and drink out of like a 2-inch straw.
Yeah, instead of just being able to sip as much as you need, and so it's kind of the same gimmick. Like you end up drinking more soda because it's the straw is bigger, and what you really need is to make your own decisions about how much horsepower and torque you need, and that's what we're trying to give you that control back. And the sprint booster stuff just pisses me off. I can't believe
the fact that they're obviously moving as many as they are is tough to swallow.
And people think it makes their car feel faster, but it doesn't change. It just gets you wide open faster. It
Unless your foot can't somehow physically articulate the whole range of
people speak and move really fast. I don't think
that's about the only thing it would fix.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we're out of time.
We just ran out of time. Yep.
Thanks for joining us today. Sorry we had to talk about this other BS, but
things we shouldn't have to explain.
I promise we won't talk about it again unless some really incredibly impactful new piece of information comes up. But I don't anticipate thinking about this too much more. Again, it's a successful our most successful product release ever. So I guess we have the haters to thank for that. So
thanks.
I don't know. Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep.